Okay, this is lesson 43, Algebra 1. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the least common multiple. We've done it when we've gotten fractions. We had 1/2 and 1/3. We had to get the least common denominator. So we had to find the smallest multiple that both of them could go into evenly. That's what least common multiple is. It's the same thing. So if you look at your example, they show you the numbers 4, 5, and 8. A common multiple is 160. They all go into 160 evenly, but is that the smallest common multiple? No, it's actually 40. 40 is a smaller number, and that's the least common multiple, that they can all go into evenly. So, how do you do that? The small numbers, it's easy, you can see. But what if I give you big numbers? It'd be harder. So let's start with this easy ones. So basically, you're going to prime factor these out. And the book doesn't tell you this, but I recommend put them in exponential form. It's easier to see. Oops. That would be 2 squared. And if you don't know how, we can go over this in class. Ask me. We can talk about prime. We've just been working on this, so it should be easy. This is just 5, and this is 2 cubed. And the reason why I kind of put the 5 over here is these are, and you put them in exponential form, you want to keep all the bases together, separate in separate columns. The reason why is you look here, you have a base of 2. The highest power is square, so you're going to take out that 2 squared. Here, you're going to have 3, and then times 5, because you only have 1. 5, the highest power is 5 to the first power, and 3 to the first. So 2 squared is 4, times 3 is 12, times 5, so that gives you 60. I'm sorry. This didn't work out because this is 2 cubed. Sorry. So you take out, sorry, step back here. 2 cubed times 5 is 8 times 5, which is 40, which is what we said was the smallest LCM for the 2. So let's do the same thing, but let's look at some bigger numbers. Because with small numbers, you can kind of do this in your head, but not when you get to bigger numbers. It's really hard. So let's look at one that's not so big. Well, it's a little big. 18, 81, and 500. And you're going to put this in prime. You're going to prime factor, and you're going to put it in exponential form. So 18 is the same thing as 2 times 3 squared. 81 is the same thing as saying 3 to the 4th power. Right? 9 times 9, 3 times 3 times 3. And then 500 is the same thing as saying 2 squared times 5 cubed. Again, you're going to separate the different bases, put all the like bases together. So, you've got 1, 2, 3 different bases, 3 different columns. This one is 2. What's the highest power? It's square, so you're going to take out the 2 squared. This one is 3 to the 4th. And this one, you just have 1, 5 cubed, so you will take it out. So, you're going to multiply 2 squared times 3 to the 4th times 5 to the cube. If you multiply that out with a calculator, that will give you 40,500. That is the least common multiple for those 3 numbers. That's why it's important. If you put it in exponential form, you can separate each base and just pull out the highest power. And where we're going to next is going to make it a little bit easier to see. So let's do another one to make sure we have this concept down. So let's look at 43.3. 560, 588, and 1520. 560 is primed. If you do prime factorization, you get 2 to the 4th times 5 times 7. 588 is 2 squared times 3 times 7 squared. 1250 is 2 times 5 to the 4th. Again, I'm going to separate all the different bases. I've got a base of 2, 3, 5, and 7. Okay? 2 to the 4th number is just 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Instead of writing it 4 times, I'm going to write 2 to the 4th power. It makes it easier to see. Then you see, okay, what's my highest power? That's to the 1st, to the 2nd, to the 4th. So I'm going to take out the biggest one. Here, I only have a 3, so I have to take it out. You can't forget anything. Here, have 5 to the 1st and 5 to the 4th. You're going to take out 5 to the 4th. Here, you're going to take out 7 squared. When you multiply that all out, you're going to we get 1,470,000. That is the least common multiple that all these numbers can go into evenly. Okay, why are we doing this? Well, we're about to get a little complicated. When we did fractions, we got a common denominator. For these, it's 24, and then we rewrote them, yes? And then we can add these fractions. So now that we have a common denominator, we simply add the numerators, and we would keep the denominator. It would be 2035 would be my answer, yes? Well, the reason why we're doing this is because we're about to do the same thing with an algebraic expression like this, 15 an algebraic fraction, or we call them rational expressions. We have to have a common, they're just fractions, and we'll learn that in the next lesson, but right now we're going to learn how to get the least common multiple, or the least common denominator like we did on fractions. So let's just look at the denominator and practice finding the LCM. And actually this way is this is easier. It's pretty easy. So let's look at, here's our two things. What's the LCM? Well, you're going to prime factor it out and put it in exponential form. The variables, you just leave them like that. The number, the coefficient, is what you have to prime out, which is, this is 3 times 5 times a squared times b. This is 2 times 5 times a times b cubed. Then I'm going to separate my bases. Remember, bases have to be in the same column. Okay, I only have 1, 2, so I'm going to take that out. I only have 1, 3 to the first power. I'm going to take that out. I have each a 5, so I'm going to take that out because they're both to the first power. Then here I have a base of a, but what's my highest power? It's 2, so that's what I'm taking out. Here, the base is b, and my highest power, this is 1 and 3, so 3 is bigger. So I simply multiply 2 times 3 is 6 times 5, so my LCM is 30 a squared b cubed. That's all it is. So let's look at another one. Let's look at, find the LCM of 4x squared m and 6x cubed m. This becomes 2 squared x squared m. 2 times 3x cubed times m. Again, I prime factorization in exponential form. Remember, this is the base, not the exponent, not the power. You want the same bases. Let me write my 2's the same. So here are my 2's. I take out a 2. The highest power is square, so I'm going to take out a 2 squared. Here, my highest is 3 to the first. Here, it's an x cubed, because 3 is bigger than 2. Here, they're both to the first power, so I'm just going to take out an m. Then this is 2 squared, which is 4, times 3 is 12, x cubed m. Don't forget to multiply these numbers. Do not leave it like that. On a test or a quiz, you're going to get it wrong and points taken off. Homework, I may just take off a point or two. But it's important that you multiply it out, because when we've got fractions, we got to be able to see the like terms and add them together. And we can't. If we see 2 squared and 3 and then 12, we may not recognize that that's the same thing. So it's important to multiply it out. And that's all it is. It's really simple. Let's do one more. And that's example 43.6. It says find the LCM of 12x squared a m squared and 14x cubed a m to the fourth. Again, you're just factoring out the coefficient. 12 is 2 squared times, and I just prime factor. If you don't understand prime factorization, ask me in class and we'll go over it. It's not that big of a deal. You might not be the only one that doesn't understand that. But at this point, you should be able to, and we can go over it in class if you don't. Then I'm just going to simply put x squared a m squared. Here, 14 is the same thing as 2 times 7, and then I'm just going to leave these. That's the beauty of that. Just write them as is and into the fourth. Again, you want to separate the bases, and each one to have its own column. Sometimes you might only have one, because you might only, like here, you have a 7 here, but you don't have a 7 here. And you have a 3 in this one, but not a 3 in that one, and that's okay. But you have to include it. Let me turn this a little bit more. So you're going to take out a 2 square, and a 3, and a 7. What do we take out here? X cubed, that's correct. Here you're going to take out an A. Here you're going to take out m to the 4th power, because 4 is the highest power. Then you multiply. 2 squared is 4, times 3 is 12, and 12 times 7. You can come over here if you need to. Okay, so it's 84 x cubed a m to the 4th. And that's your answer. Okay? This lesson 43, the code is 512, and put that at the top of homework number 41. 512 at the top of homework number 41.